Good morning. It's a beautiful day in Pennsylvania. So, I'm back to talk a little bit more about retirement. My hair's sticking up. That's part of retirement. Caregiving. And maybe we'll throw in some hobbies today. So, I spent my whole life in a nursing career. I started out as an LPN. I got my RN, BSN, and then ultimately my master's in nursing education. I spent 45 years in healthcare. Most of the time it was in women's health. OBGYN inpatient, outpatient, infertility clinic. I was the IVF coordinator in the fertility clinic for more than 25 years. At one point in my life, I had a bleed in my right eye. And unfortunately, that is permanent. And I'm basically blind in the center vision. When that happened, the skills that I needed to continue working as an RN basically went away. Because I only had one good eye, it prevented me from seeing well enough to start an IV. When I worked, we had to write down what were the NDC numbers, what was the lot numbers, the expiration date, and I had a terrible time seeing those little numbers. Now I see the nurses, they're very lucky, they just scan that information, but I had to actually see it when I worked. So, when my vision went away and really took away my skills, I went and I worked for the hospital's insurance company. That way, I did chart reviews, I did prior authorizations for surgery, and I still had patient contact, which is what I wanted. So, like I dreamed about my whole life, I finally decided to retire. That decision came during COVID. COVID was terrible. It was the worst. I couldn't take the things that they were making us do. Prior authorizations for elective surgery went away, and so they had us do other things. Most of the time, it was going out to other sites and giving COVID vaccinations to healthcare workers and sometimes to the lay people. I was a skeptic the whole time with COVID, and I hated giving out vaccinations that I did not trust. I personally never got a COVID vaccine because when I worked for the insurance company, I worked from home 100%. And I didn't trust the things that were being told to me. My personal decision was I never got a vaccine. And, as information is coming out, I don't regret that decision. I know I'm in the minority, but I was lucky enough that I could retire. So you would think I'm a nurse all those years. I would be ready to go when it came to caregiving. No. When you're a nurse and you go to work is very stressful. You're very busy. You don't get lunch. Don't get breaks. That was very common. But at the end of the shift, you got to go home. When you're a caregiver, you don't get breaks. Very frequently, I don't get lunch. Sometimes I don't get dinner. And I never get to go home. I moved out of my home 6 years ago to move in with my mom, who has dementia. She is almost immobile. She can only take a few steps. So I have to help her to the potty chair. There's 7 steps to get outside our home. I can't get her down or, God forbid, up those steps. So, unfortunately, she is stuck in the house and I can't get her outside. Now, I do have a deck and I can put her in the wheelchair and take her out on the deck, and I do try to do that on some of these beautiful summer days. Some of the hardest parts of taking care of her is repetitive phrases. She will say the same phrase, depending on her mood, 100 times a day. She'll say, "I'm hungry," while she has a sandwich in her hand. She'll say, "I'm hungry," because she doesn't remember the last time she ate. So I'm sure there are people out there who have these same kind of issues. I've tried all kinds of things to reinforce, well, I don't think you're hungry. Look, you have a sandwich in your hand. Go ahead and eat that. You've already had breakfast, lunch, and for her, it's supper. And I'd show her the supper plate, which that's another tactic, leaving the plate next to where she sits to try and trigger a memory that, oh, I did eat. Another repetitive behavior is turn out those lights, shut the door, over and over again. Again, I go up, I talk to her about turning on or off the lights, the door situation, and it just goes on and on, where sometimes I have no other option, where I just let her talk and don't intervene, or I'd be intervening every couple minutes during the day. I don't like to just let her keep saying it, but if anybody has a suggestion, just remember she's got short-term memory loss, which goes with the dementia. If I reinforce this is not happening or this is happening, in 5 minutes she doesn't remember that I reinforced that. Anybody have any suggestions? I'm certainly open to that. So yesterday it was 90 degrees in Pennsylvania. I was so lucky to get to go out, hired a caregiver, which I have on permanent hold. She comes and takes care of my mom anytime I need her. So just like many of you out there, had to pay a caregiver. So to go swimming, it cost me, luckily, it only cost me $50 because I don't go through an agency. $50 for the whole 5 hours. Because I have her on a permanent basis, we have an agreement and I don't pay her agency wages. And actually the $50 was for 4 hours, and I had an hour credit, in which another day I came home an hour early because I was done with my errands. So went to a friend's pool, cost me $50, and I had an amazing time just sitting in the pool, having a glass of wine, having a salad, enjoying myself. But as I'm sure most of you experience also, when I came home, I'm thinking, okay, so she was stimulated all day, somebody was with her all day, she'll be tired, I'll get a chance to now calm down for my day out, which I'm not used to having a day out. No, she was agitated because someone was with her every second of that 5 hours. That was her expectation. So as I tried to cook and clean, she kept calling for me every time I left the room. And she doesn't call for me, she calls for someone. Is someone in the kitchen? Is someone in the bedroom? Is someone upstairs? You can call for me, even though I've been here 6 years. Come sit with me. I tell her, I'm cooking supper, I'll be in as soon as it's done. And a minute later, same thing. Even 10 o'clock at night, calling for people to come sit with her. I had her ready for bed. She sleeps in her recliner. She's all settled. The fans are on at the appropriate height, away from her, not blowing on her. She doesn't like those. By the way, we don't have air conditioning. And 10, 11 o'clock at night, she's sitting up. Well, I'm not tired. Okay. I'm exhausted. So finally, when I turned off all the lights, went to bed, she finally settled down. So sometimes I feel when I go out, I just get punished when I come home. I have to work twice as hard, and I'm twice as tired. So today, I'm going to actually try and work on the garden. Once I give her breakfast and get her settled, the harvest is ready to go. Zucchini, basil, parsley, they're all ready to be harvested. Gonna make some nice pesto today for pesto on my spaghetti, which will be dinner, supper, whatever you call it. Cucumbers aren't quite ready. They need another day or so. But at my friend's house, I did get cucumbers, so I'm stocked with them. Maybe tomorrow or the next day when I come back on here, I'll do a video of the garden so you can see this is one of the things that I do to try and help find some peace in my soul. When I'm outside, I have all the windows open so I can hear her. I have an alarm on her chair so that if she moves too aggressively, I can hear the alarm and I can quick rush in the house, make sure she's still sitting in her chair and not trying to pick something off the floor or reach for something. But I can hear her. And I know when she needs me and I have to go back in. So, next video will be garden things. And so we'll move on. We talked about the retirement today. We talked about mom today. Tomorrow, let's talk about garden. So what hobbies do you do? Now, I do a lot of hobbies. That's just one thing, and it's summertime, so that's consuming to me right now. But I do a lot. I crochet. I try and take classes online to learn about herbs, things like that. I read. I have this vision problem, so it has to be in large print, and some things are difficult for me to read. And a lot of times I do audiobooks. The only problem with me with audiobooks is there's so much going on around me that I tend to walk away while the book is talking to me, and then I miss it. And I'm a terrible listener because I have so much to do. So I hope all of you have an amazing day. I really hope you find a way to find some peace in your day. See you next time.